keep it alive through these lines I write. I keep it live cause I thrive. I might just blow your mind tonight. I'm so hyped, but it's no hype. From this height, it's direct hits on sight. I'm your type, lend me your ears to show you that there's something in me. I'm not giving up, I'm standing right here, holding these days hostage. And I'll make this my year. We turning fear into love, and the love's in the air. I love doing this cause nothing compares. Nothing can share that same type of feeling when you feeling them flares. They can't catch it, it's havoc. I rip to a tear, switch a scenario. My stereos, I leave them impaired. Variables start to change and they're all in my range. I just gotta grab it, it's all mathematics. Every step is drastic, I make it fantastic. I'm trying to take your breath away. Asthmatic. This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo. This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo. Yeah, just nod your head with it, so explicit and vivid. Every image is intricate, intimate. I put my all into it, no scrimmage and no rules. I'm a pro tool, hear my heartbeat, beat into the vocals. I'm so loco, lost my mind, oh no. It's ponderoso, dope, so no overdose, cause it's dope, yo. Man, this is house grown, mixed with some milestones. So I let the style flow down like the Dow Jones, bringing it with some foul tones, letting the crowd
playing it now.
We getting loud, so it's eardrum rudiments. Yeah, we bring it.
I really want to.
Music for tuning in, full time to the 10. I'm on my clock like I told you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Anti-Media Radio. You're here with host Lavon. Happy Friday, April 25th, 2014. Sorry about last week. You guys were probably like, what was going on with her? I was definitely just a portion of my usual self. I'm sure you could hear it in my tone. I had a lot of people write me and contact me saying, what was wrong with you, Lavon? If you must know, I was experiencing a shift, emotionally, physically, letting some things out, and facing them like a fierce beast and releasing them from my life. It was very healing. I was also sick. I had a lot of stuff to think about. I actually prayed to lose my voice. And it happened. It was amazing, like how much synchronicity existed for me this past week. We're going to talk about a lot of interesting stuff tonight. We're joined by the lovely Simone, all the way from the East Coast. How are you?
I'm doing well, tired, but I'm good.
Thank you, as always.
Back, finally.
Yeah, we've missed you. A lot of people ask me, where's Simone? When's it going to be Simone's night? So
I had intended to be on last week, but I had forgotten my cable for my laptop when I was on the road, so I wasn't able to really connect with Skype.
No worries. It was a day for change and difference, so no
Absolutely.
worries. So Simone, if you don't mind, I want to begin tonight with a great article that I found that you can read too at theawakeningshift.com. It talks about the work of David Hawkins and his book, The Power versus Force, and the science that suggests how important the vibrations that we create and how it shapes our consciousness. So I think as we step into a more broader consciousness, literally our world begins to change. And I've been experiencing this. I know you have, Simone, and a lot of people I know as well. So what is the awakening shift? The awakening shift is a deep and profound awakening in our consciousness that is causing a shift in how we experience our world. I define consciousness as simply our level of awareness, how attuned we are to all that is unfolding in our world externally and internally. So, as we become more conscious, what is actually changing is the rate at which energy of our thoughts and emotions vibrate. So, the most credible work on the vibrational rate of consciousness has been done by Dr. David Hawkins. and it's represented in his book Power versus Force. I haven't read it yet. Have you?
Yeah, it's amazing. I have to admit I have not completely read it, but there is a PDF file with a summary of it.
Ooh, okay.
Online that I found.
Can you share that with me so we can put it in the chat?
Again, I will, and can share it maybe on the Anti-Media Radio website.
Okay, well, I'll do that. I'll make a note here.
Or like the Facebook page, because it sums up the different vibrational levels of consciousness.
It's very interesting.
How, yes, I can't remember the details, but...
Well, it says here that he developed this scale that shows the rate vibrationally of different emotions, attitudes, and perceptions.
Mm-hmm. He basically put the different emotions that we're experiencing on vibrational levels and gave them numbers. Mm-hmm. And the higher the number and frequency, the more power, like one person that is at a level of, I think, love or higher, the highest consciousness, can affect thousands, the vibration of thousands of people, or hundreds of thousands of people. Like highly conscious people can change the vibration like a ripple effect of thousands of people. And I think as an example, he gave people like Gandhi or
Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, John Lennon, Bob Marley. I mean, the list goes on, right?
And I'm not saying that we all need to aspire to be the highest, and I think most of us are fluctuating on that scale. But
apologize for the wind. I broadcast from my porch. I have a mad laboratory outside in the wilderness. So let me know if it's too windy, Simone, okay? I'll try and shift my position. But yeah, to add to what you're saying, let's see here. As our consciousness vibrates at a higher level, our bodies and our world begin to vibrate at a higher rate also. Our bodies are becoming less and less dense and expressing more energy and light. This in turn causes us to experience our world at a higher vibration as we move up the scale from fear, anger, and pride to love, joy, and peace. The events in our outer world change to match the level where we are vibrating in our body and our consciousness. Another way to say that is that we are moving from a materialistic world to a spiritual world. Literally, we are becoming a new kind of human. Our bodies are mutating, our consciousness is expanding, and our old world is dropping away. So, the events in our outer world change to match the level where we are vibrating in our body and consciousness. I think that's important.
I think it is very important, and I think it's also talking about how we're integrating the spiritual life into our everyday life and creating that way, and so our own new world. And not just, how many spiritual people are longing for getting outside of, like, leaving this 3D dimension.
Right.
I think the first next step is integrating that spirituality. And one of the first books that brought me onto that path was actually the Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. Have you heard about them?
No. Can you spell the name of the book for me though, please?
It's C as in cat, and then Elestine, Prophecy.
Okay, Prophecy.
And then by James Redfield, and it contains 9 insights about, I would say, the emergence, and it talks about human energy and human interaction and how it talks about this shift of consciousness And it starts at the beginning of the book. I just started rereading it again with his going back in history, how before the church took over power, the humans still believed, in their own connection with God, and then it turned into that control system.
Yes.
And then people were sent out when they didn't believe in the church anymore to connect them to God. They sent people out all across the world to find, the truth about the divine or God or whatever. And in the meantime, because it took them forever to come back, nothing really happens, they found ways to make their lives more comfortable. So the focus was more on science. And that now we're getting to a point where we're taking our power back and finding our connection with God or source or
whatever you call it,
within ourselves, rather than relying on an outside source, bringing it to us.
And part of that is realizing in a humble manner, whatever way you can, that everybody you meet is another you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like something about them, you really don't like that about you. That is a hard thing to recognize about your psyche and the way you see people. It's creepily awesome.
And part of the insights which struck me and led me to read more about it is that because a lot of people feel disconnected to the divine energy, they're looking for it outside of themselves in other human beings. And so that's how control dramas are starting, of trying to, like what you expect from other people, and when things are not happening in the way they are, and that you're trying to control the energy of other people. Looking out for the divine love, energy, whatever, outside of yourself, is causing control dramas among humans. Versus if you have the divine, you trust that you have the connection within yourself, those control dramas wouldn't exist. So that kind of also ties into, we were going to talk about healing and consciousness and being aware of. We have it all around us, or having the access within ourselves.
So what type of healing modality did you first experience, and around what time frame? Like, give me a year. I want to see if, and we haven't talked about this in great detail. Ironically, Simone and I have very parallel lives. Right, Simone?
Where should I start? What kind of healing modality?
So,
there's so many things.
Tell me the year, and we'll go back and forth. Okay, I'm gonna be a professional journalist. Tell me the year when you had that oh shit, or not the aha moment, like, there's more to this than this. When was that for you, approximately?
I'm just trying to think.
Not to put you on the spot.
And I think I had several experiences around the same year where I learned for the first time about Reiki and how it can work on a very subtle level, that you can heal, self-heal, but also help others. And then also I've experienced a past life regression once with someone, which was amazingly powerful. It was semi-hypnosis where I was still aware of what I was saying, and just having those visions of a past life that I think afterwards it really impacted my life today. And, there's I've done acupuncture, I've been seeing naturopath, I studied herbalism, I've been practicing mindfulness meditation for 11 years, which has really, really changed my life.
Definitely.
How I approach my life, how I live my life, and I think I'm trying, whenever I come across something new that sparks my interest, if I can maybe do an exchange or something, or if I can afford it, I'm going to give it a try.
Oh, of course. And that's part of it too, is you have to be open to new experiences.
Yeah.
If you don't challenge yourself, you're not going to grow. Just as if you were a wrestler and you're trying to wrestle an opponent, you want him to be strong, right? So you can gain muscle.
And I'm working with my friend who's offering breathwork circles, working with pranayama, breathing, deep breathing to release blockages. And I help to hold the space energetically if people are having a hard time moving through stuff, that I can support them in their healing process. And that too, like just a combination of the energy work as well as the breath work, is just amazing. I mean, people sometimes end up in tears just with the amount of relief that they feel.
And what did you feel the first time you ever had body work? Like, what kind of sensations, like, did you experience?
Well, I think it's different for different kind of body work.
Let's say acupuncture. What was that experience like for you?
I just felt, you feel the needles, and then I felt you literally feel things just opening up and flowing, like blockages loosening up and flowing. With the Reiki, I experience it as being very relaxing. I've experienced a lot of pain relief, and I have an amazing recent Reiki story. When my mother-in-law was in the ICU a few weeks ago, she had heart arrhythmia and she was not doing well at all, but she was open for me to give her Reiki. And so I went in there to see her, and the heart monitor was just constantly beeping with her heart being completely off, stopping or whatever. And I gave her Reiki and she fell asleep. And while I was giving her Reiki, the heart monitor stopped beeping and the heartbeat normalized.
That's amazing.
And so that was something that I've never, having seen that a monitor kind of proof that, brought the scientific side to the effect of Reiki, which is really the self-healing. It sparks the healing of the body, and what she really needed is to just allow her body to rest. That moment, and that's what it helped with.
I learned something interesting about Reiki just the other day, actually. I went to a Reiki training through meetup.com, which is an awesome website. If you guys don't know about Meetup, seriously, you can literally meet people with your interest and do stuff together. So there's a Reiki practitioner on there. She's been practicing Reiki for 25 years. So I thought, I want to hear what this woman has to say. And I went to her class, and 2 hours long, and it was free, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, sorry, hold on one second.
So did she...
So she spoke for 2 hours about the history of Reiki and how it's really a personal experience for everybody. And
it's true.
And depending on I guess you could say your level of consciousness or your level of openness or acceptance or comfort, however you want to categorize it, it will determine the effectiveness or the sensations. And she told me that here in San Diego, at Sharp Memorial, one of the most prestigious hospitals in our community, they have a team of over 100 Reiki practitioners that volunteer.
Awesome.
I didn't know this. And they go through a special training that the hospital agrees upon. And she told me that there are 300 to 400 people a month, 300 to 400 people a month who are requesting Reiki. And she said that the doctors are acknowledging the positive and profound effects of the treatments. People need less medication. They need less of their nurse's time. They recover quicker. So imagine if we implemented this. And
I think there is a lot of hospitals are already implementing that more and more. And
it's amazing.
There's one woman, a Reiki master teacher. Her name is Pamela Miles. She's also published some books, and she has some really great videos. If you're not into reading a full book, some YouTube videos about Reiki and the power, like how it works. And she talks a lot about the research, and she talks about how she's been in hospitals, sometimes in the pre-op room, giving people Reiki. And I think at one point in her book, she even describes that she was in the operation room while the doctors were operating, like not, just holding the energy basically with the process, and how it helped to just with the whole healing process, and the doctors doing the right moves. And yeah, it's, and I think where I live in the hospital, they do have volunteers giving Reiki. I think for chemo patients, I have done a hospice volunteer training, so I've given a lot of dying people Reiki, which is a completely...
She spoke about that too. She said that a lot of her career is been working with patients who are transitioning.
And that's the best, I think that was the most amazing thing that I've ever done, working with the dying and giving Reiki, because I think the Reiki, and again, depends on your level of awareness, really can help them with the transition and just easing into getting into the part of acceptance that, yes, my body's dying and it's okay to let go.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an amazing experience.
Oh, you just gave me chills.
But I wanted to talk about people too who are, I think one of the things that came up earlier for both of us is that I come across a lot of people that are very conscious, but being conscious means they're very much aware of their blocks, and becoming more and more aware of their blocks and their old beliefs, but still feel stuck in their old patterns of being unable to emerge. They're awakened, but they feel stuck in letting it out or getting out of that cocoon. We talked about the caterpillar.
Yes, imaginal cells.
But basically, I think what I've learned today, I've gone today to an amazing energy healing session, and she used a combination of healing methods, mostly intuitively, but she was using something called Access Consciousness, which I have to read up again, and a lot of shamanic work, but also tapped into some of my past life and kind of pulled energy cords out of me, and just what this helped me realize is that I had a choice. We have a choice of emerging, and what is holding us, what was holding me back or is holding me back, is my fear, and making the choice of allowing that fear making me feel stuck, and putting more belief in what could go wrong and what could actually go right.
Changing your perspective.
Changing the perspective and just allowing yourself, okay, what if I'm trusting that everything is going to be fine? What if this is in my highest good? So,
for me, it was accepting things in my past that were literally weighing me down, and I knew they were in there, but I wasn't ready to deal with them. Like, I consciously said that to myself, like, I'm not letting that out. Like, I kept it in, but they're fine. For me, it was a combination of things. I think I talked to you guys about this a few weeks ago. I had this psoas work done. That's a deep pelvic muscle. It's a really long muscle in your body. It attaches to your upper abdomen, goes down through your pelvis, and attaches to your lower back. Like, it's a very important muscle. It's activated every time you lift your leg, anytime you're in sitting position. You use it a lot. And I had this trigger point, like, super deep in my pelvis. that I wasn't aware of. And I worked with this chiropractor who practiced applied kinesiology. So he does muscle testing and like asks the body, where do you need the most attention? And, you know, through his training and intuitive nature, I guess, combination of, you know, muscle testing and all the above makes adjustments. And I felt so balanced. But the next day, I felt like I had gotten run over by a truck and that it had climbed back inside of me and was trying to get out. That is the best way I can describe it. Like I hadn't had a normal lady cycle, and I swear that night, it had been like a year and a half. That night, it was like my body was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have this action here. It was literally like, what a relief, you know? Like I let go of a ton of emotion, and I experienced something called retracing. And I want to speak on that in more in depth tonight. There's an article that you can find at www.arltma.com/articles. In their nutritional program, I like their science and their research, but I don't have any affiliation with them. I just like to say that. Obviously, guys, this is not to be intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or preventing disease. I'm just sharing some awesome information with you guys. Have to say that, and I'm not a doctor. So there are many types of detoxation and healing modalities and ways that we can trigger certain symptoms or reactions of healing. And some of them are triggered by smells. Some of them are triggered by sounds, or even a certain manipulation or even massage technique. And there's a bunch of different reactions, and I think that we should kind of go over them so you guys can have an understanding. So understanding healing reactions is important because it helps remove fear, and it helps us to find the difference between abandoning or continuing the health program. And I was expressing this with Simone earlier, being in the field and helping people go through a healing process. I see this a lot where people are excited to begin doing body work, but then they experience something that's less than ideal initially, like I did with that really amazing shift in my body. 2 days later, for 2 days I felt horrible, but then I felt amazing. In that period of time, people become very discouraged and they give up. And then they never get help. So why healing reactions occur? According to this article, there are 3 steps. And the first step is supplying a missing ingredient or removing a blockage. The second step is activation of the body's own healing and balancing mechanism. And the third step is the production of symptoms or the manifestation of the reaction. So step 1, it says sometimes people need nutritional assistance. Sometimes they need a specific minerals, herbs, amino acids, or something that is unbalanced in the body chemistry. Right, Simone? Like, this is not atypical of people nowadays, the way we're eating, sleeping, working, experiencing this modern world. Like, of course our body chemistry is going to be off. Especially the food. If you think about the food alone, that's a whole other show. So, nutritional balancing may be expressed negatively, right? Because various factors block natural physiological function. Toxic metals, that's super prominent in most of the things that we consume. All of our products, our water, those block normal reactions in the body and energy cycles. Chemicals in our food and our water, fluoride, chlorine, also affect biochemical reactions. So, let's see here. Vitamins may act as blockers by imbalancing the body chemistry. And it says, an example, a slow oxidizer, excessive, this makes no sense. There we go. Bacteria or yeast may be organisms that need to be eliminated to allow healing. Or emotional blockages like fear,
I think what I can think of two examples of what I've learned and what I've experienced. One is, I remember when I went to Kripalu, which is a retreat center in Massachusetts, and they have like just healthy food, like really healthy food. So there's really just choice of healthy food, and I ate really healthy for 5 days. Mm-hmm. But the first 2 days, I remember the body odor was so intense. My body was toxic so much, you know, and it was like I just could smell it. But then afterwards, I felt great. I smelled good, and I had so much energy. But just the adjustment period of that, to eat just that healthy food, you know, for that period of time, it was energizing. And the other part is about when you're learning Reiki, or also when you're getting Reiki, a lot of Reiki practitioners or teachers are talking about the healing crisis or a healing reaction, meaning also that the body is adjusting to that new frequency in your body, and it's kind of detoxing and getting rid of what it's no longer serving. And that can actually manifest in almost like flu-like symptoms, which is literally, you know, clearing up what's no longer needed. So just being aware of that, it's they call it 21-day clearing process. To just be aware of that.
And if you guys happens. And if you guys go to the website, it goes more in detail about symptoms of specific detoxes and what kind of symptoms you can experience while going through retracing. And sometimes you experience the same occurrence, what that caused it to manifest. You know, it's profound.
Do you believe, Levon, that sometimes that diseases first build themselves or get denser in our energetic matrix, and then they manifest in the physical when it's there for too long, or if it's too intense? Does that make sense to you?
I know what you're getting at. I think that there's a potential for disease in everybody, and I think that you either consciously or not, or supporting it or preventing it at every moment, based on everything. I think that it starts as an idea, all disease, and then it manifests into a physical thing. If you want to speak energetically and, you know.
Or even thought, you know, the power.
For sure. I think it's manifested by thought.
And it's also realizing that we have stronger self-healing powers than we give ourselves credit for.
I remember as a child, in first grade, I realized that I could make myself sick. If I wanted to be sick, and I could do it. I would say, you know, self, I'm not going to school today. I think I have a fever. Oh, and my stomach hurts. I'm pretty sure I have diarrhea. I would just, you know, build this idea up in my mind, and I would start to feel physically ill, to the point where my mother was like, oh, yeah, you're definitely sick. You know, as a tiny little person, I was like, ooh. You know, I had this realization.
It's like a power.
A superpower.
Of the power of the mind and the power of words. And the same is true with the power. There's a lot of research has been done about the power of thoughts or the power of words. Power of prayer and healing prayer and specifically about how that literally, it does change the vibration, but I think it's also depends on the person who is receiving the healing being receptive for it and being open to start the self-healing process in that regard. The other thing, what a lot of people are forgetting, that especially in the spiritual community, is they forget about a lot of people are forgetting about their being in their body and being present with their body. You know, how many people are really just want to just space out there, you know, connecting with higher beings and astral travel, but being in the body and actually taking care of the body, like it's our temple. That's what houses our soul here in this dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to take care of it.
But I think there's a huge movement. People are moving towards that, especially with the food movement. People are starting to realize, there is a correlation to being well, not only based on our environment. And you can see more supporting evidence on the power of thought and intention. I suggest YouTube. Just type in "water experiment" by Dr. Masaru Emoto. You'll be amazed.
He's been in Vermont for a lecture. By the water. It's amazing.
So profound. It will change your whole paradigm if you watch that one video. Promise. But moving on to our next topic, which I completely just forgot about.
Are you going to talk about the caterpillar and the butterfly?
No, what was I just talking about before I tried to wrap up the the talk on water experiments and energy? Man, my brain is just too excited right now. I was totally going somewhere. I totally had an awesome idea. Dead.
Well, it'll come to you.
It'll come back. Must not have been profound.
But I think you should talk about that beautiful image that you described to me earlier.
I always talk about this image. You guys, I keep coming back to this. You remember weeks ago, I had a whole show, and I talked about emergence. And I began with a metaphor, a story of the butterfly, and how when it's changing, it goes through this metamorphosis. And initially, I think I even called into the show on Monday to say this because I can't stop talking about it. Mm-hmm. During the transformation, the caterpillar's body creates these new cells, what is to become the butterfly. But the immune system of the caterpillar is perplexed and it doesn't recognize them as itself. So, as a result, the immune system is triggered and it starts to eat these little cells. This new potential is being denied. The caterpillar can't accept that it's going to change. It doesn't know it yet, but it's happening. So, still, the body is going through this metamorphosis and it continues to create these new cells. And these cells start to vibrate at a whole other frequency than the rest of the body. And eventually they group together and they kind of have this moment, this profound aha, where they realize that there are more of them and they start to share information amongst themselves. They start to pass ideas, if you will. And then this amazing thing happens, a transfer, a shift. The butterfly emerges because it realizes that it can. And I think that's a beautiful representation of what people are experiencing now. You just gotta be open to change because it's so good. It can be so good.
Some people, I'm talking from my own experience and also seeing it in some others, is we feel the push, but we're afraid of the leap of faith. But getting to the point and knowing, just trusting and believing that it's okay. This is what in our highest good, and just go for it.
Mm-hmm. That's hard, though. It's hard to have a leap of faith.
But then again, you think about the caterpillar and the butterfly. What's starting the butterfly to actually start to break out of the cocoon? What makes it get through that hard shell? The hard shell is almost like our fear that we need to break through in order to become our complete self.
Exactly. And even then, after you emerge, and then you sit there for a while,
It's new and it feels different.
It's like, do I want to fly away?
Unexplored territory for us.
Mm-hmm. So, since the butterfly now knows that it's a butterfly, the tiny imaginal cells no longer have to do all those things individual cells must do. Now they are part of a multi-celled organism, a family who can share the work. Each new butterfly cell can take on a different job. There's something for everyone to do, and everyone is important. And each cell begins to do just that very thing it is most drawn to, and every other cell encourages it to do just that.
I would call it, in my own words, my soul family.
We all have different words for things, right?
I just
synonyms a lot.
Those kind of people feel like my family when people that are there who are where we are encouraging each other, to do the things that we love to do and want to do, and encouraging us to be our true self, complete self, best self, living in our full glory, if you wish.
I just want to remind everyone that we can take calls tonight. The phone lines are open. The number is 718-717-8296. If you guys have some healing stories of your own, or you have any questions about anything we spoke on tonight, please call in. We'd love to speak with you, hear what you got to say.
I would like to talk about one healing method that has helped me, which is very simple. I mean, it's not simple, but it's a practice. And it is about using mindfulness. There's a technique about dealing with pain. Basically what I learned, and because everyone has pain at some point that seems to be unbearable, but what really causes the suffering around the pain, and I'm not sure, I might have talked about this before, is our thoughts and stories that we create around the pain. And to being aware of, okay, this is the story that I'm telling about the pain, but what if we just pay attention and breathe into the pain to release the tension around the pain, and just being present with the pain and holding that, being able to breathe into it, sometimes is just enough to release the pain, to pay attention to it and to release it, and just noticing the difference. What I learned from my own experience with pain is pain plus resistance equals suffering. But if you instead can accept it and hold it with spacious awareness, you can see how it shifts, and you can still be present with and take your attention away from it. I feel that once I've paid some attention to the pain that's bothering me, I'm able to let go of it at some point and bring my, attention back to what I want or need to focus on, if that makes sense. When we are tense, when our muscles are tense, it actually intensifies any kind of pain. If you have had surgery or something and you're tensing up and you're really stressed out about experiencing the pain, it makes the pain worse. That's the resistance part of that causes the suffering. So, but if you're getting into that space of, okay, I'm accepting it, I'm getting into where's locating the pain, what does it feel like? Is it dull? Is it sharp? Can I locate it? What kind of stories are created around that pain? And just noticing how, almost imagining that the muscles around that pain open up like a fist, finger by finger. Very slowly. So that's helped me a lot. And I've even practiced it with some people that have dealt with extreme pains, and it helped them to let go.
And it brings up an idea for me. Everybody does experience differently. And you and I talked about a lot of different healing modalities tonight and things we've experienced. And something new that I experienced, and I mentioned to you earlier, is I go to the health food store a lot, because there is, and it's like a whole new paradigm, right? I'm exposed to all these different things. It's a different lens, if you will. And I'm just open to all the products they have. And I try them to see, is there any validity to this? What is the power of this herb? Just different things I've become more aware of just by going in there. And yesterday, I happened to come into contact with an awesome product called I Am Enlightened Creations. It's really profound what these people are doing. They say that you can transform your heart, body, and spirit. So they make products that balance the body and energize the spirit. So what they do is they create these formulas, right? And their alchemists are master herbologists. And it says here that they draw on ancient medical knowledge and the most advanced breakthrough in sciences to develop highly effective liquid nutrition supplements, flower elixirs, and aromatherapy mist sourced from the finest wild and sustainably grown ingredients. Finally, we infuse each bottle with the power of positive, loving intent so you can unleash the transformative power within you. So I tried a couple products, and they're basically these sprays, if you will, and they have different intentions. Names like I'm energized, I'm sleepy, I'm focused. Those are to inspire certain things. But the things I most like are the chakra activators. And what they have is a combination of extracts, actual crystals, and herbs. And depending on what you're most drawn to, it's very interesting. The nutritionist suggested that the one that was most offensive to me was the one I needed the most. She says that the body craves what it's allergic to. And think about what things you're hungry for. Mostly sugars, right? Most of us, we love sugar. It's probably the worst thing we can have, but we want it all the time. Just to give you a real life example. So the one that I was most disgusted with was called I Am Peace. And its purpose is to balance your root chakra. Interestingly enough, that's where I've been having all that phantom pain and like release. Anytime I have body work, it always goes back to that same place. So I felt a deep stillness and comfort, just like it said I would. You know what I mean? Like I felt grounded, like I do usually when I get out of an acupuncture session. And I was just like profoundly amazed at how powerful this stuff is. You know, I was having trouble speaking. Remember I told you guys earlier I lost my voice. They have one called Truth that is intended for your throat chakra, and it's supposed to clear negative thoughts and help you find your true voice. And I was pondering a letter that I needed to write to my boss, because I've decided to make a shift in my employment, and I didn't know how to say it. And after yesterday, I sat down and I wrote it. It was amazing. I felt like I could do it, you know. And for me, it was effective, so I encourage you guys to check them out. It's cool products, very interesting stuff.
There's a lot of cool products like that out there, and I remember several months ago I went to a meditation session, and this woman is creating crystal essences. So she basically puts crystals into water to get their energy vibration into the water sprays. You know, like charging them, but also charging them with angel energy. And I think she puts a little bit of essential oils in some of them too.
So cool.
So she used it, and she just, used intuitively for each of the drop-in meditations, what she felt we could use. And I did feel a shift. There was one, I think she used malachite, which is a heart chakra crystal. And essence, and she used it on our heart chakra, and it was just like whoosh, like opening the heart. It's just, you just really sense that. I don't know that everyone can sense it very openly, but it definitely, I felt the shift. So just, keep an open mind of what's out there, and some things might work for you, but not for others, and vice versa, I
think the best way to conclude or summarize would be in the words of Mr. Brilliant Albert Einstein, who is my favorite teacher ever. He says, a man should look for what is, not what should be. And this is the same man who gave us the concept of E equals MC squared, right? Everything is energy. Everything. So it's everything in your reality is energy vibrating at a low rate that makes it seem solid. That includes your consciousness, your level of awareness. You know, if you change your perspective, you can alter your world, right?
Absolutely. It's just a matter of allowing yourself allowing yourself to experience that you have a choice, and that it's not just duty and what others expect of you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something, that I feel a lot of indigos are experiencing, is that they feel judged by the rest of the world because they are different, and they just want to go against the grain of what might be expected of them. And I think for a lot of people it's a struggle.
It is. But once you come into that comfortable space of, this is who I am and what I am, and you have the right intentions, you don't feel bombarded by the judgment of others, Instead, you understand it and you're like, okay, that's fine. I know I'm weird. You'll be weird one day too. We're all weird together. Our big happy weirdness. We're just all weirding out together. Being all weird like.
And also, some people may make fun of you, and just, if you're believing in who you are, hey, it's okay, laugh about yourself. I'm proud to be weird and considered weird and crazy.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
But some people maybe have an issue with, being made fun of. I watched this video. There's a YouTube video, Shit New Age Girls Say.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen that?
No, but I'm totally going to watch that.
And then there's a response to that, Shit New Age Guys Say, and I think it's hilarious because, you can just see yourself in that, but also in an extreme version, and just, it's funny. And I think, if you can't laugh about that because I'm okay with being weird and like that.
Want to hear some of my nicknames?
It's insecure.
People call me Mother Earth. They call me Queen Hippie, Butterfly Lady, Beekeeper, Vegetable Lady. Like, I have all kinds of weird names that people have given me, and I'm okay with that. Hey,
I don't have
lady.
a weird name like that, to be honest. Maybe I'm just surrounded by that's what I like about living here in Vermont. I think that it's just the circle of people I have. They're just like me. Most of the people here are
the
like
people
me.
who give me these names they're terms of endearment, but just to give you an idea of how I'm perceived,
I completely see that. It's very nice. It's very sweet.
Mm-hmm. And I want to remind people that if you're suffering and, you're always in the same situation, perhaps you're attracting that. Why? Why are you stuck in that, literally that, it's like a cycle, right? It's a trap.
And again, it comes back to what I said earlier about knowing you have a choice. Mm-hmm. You are suffering. You have a choice. You don't want to suffer anymore. What can you do about it?
What can you do?
What can you do to change
and
the situation?
That may be different for you. For Simone and I, we've experienced shifts with body work, but that was only through trial and exploration.
The point I want to make, a lot of people are suffering in silence.
Exactly.
I want to encourage you, if you feel that you can't do it by yourself, you don't have to pay for services like, not everyone has the funds to do get energy healing. Ask for help from your friends. Mm-hmm. I need to talk to you. Can you help me? What can I do? Find those, build a support network to help you to get through this difficult, to change your pattern, to change into.
If you just put it out there, it really does come to you, Exactly.
And just knowing and asking, not only just waiting for someone to rescue, but literally ask.
I need help.
Exactly.
I need help.
And it's okay to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help.
It's a sign of strength.
It's ask for what
because you're allowing yourself.
You can take the steps.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be shown the steps, but you can take the steps.
It reminds me of something my buddy said. He wanted to take me to Bikram yoga, and I still have yet to go. But he told me, if you want to lay down, Levon, if you are tired, lay down. It does not show weakness. It shows immense strength that you're listening to your body and you're doing what it needs you to do to get through it. And that's the perfect motivation for you as well. You know, if you've got to lay down and ask for help, or you've got to take a breather, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can only go up from there, right? After you get some air, you're like, oh, I'm good now. I'm going to stand up. So.
Yeah, I agree.
We talked a lot of different topics tonight.
But the essence was about healing and
exactly.
And just the empowerment, knowing that you have it in your own hands, that you have the power within you to take the steps to make the changes. Yes, it takes courage, but if you need help, then just reach out. If you don't have a support system, just ask someone. Ask on Facebook or whatever. There's a lot of people out there that are happy to help.
Yeah, I believe that's true. You reap what you sow. Action equals reaction. You attract what you think about. So what are you thinking about? What are you holding on to? What are you afraid of? You know, those are things that I want you to ponder. Also, I want you to consider all the words we use to describe things, because a lot of times I think words get in the way. And I like to make this point every show if I can, just to be aware of synonyms. Because I think we're all talking about the same thing most of the time. We're just using different terms. That's my conclusion.
I agree, and just knowing that, that's where a lot of times miscommunication can happen too.
Absolutely. I've been miscommunicating with someone recently, and I think it's because I did go through this shift, and we're no longer on the same path, or we don't see the world the way we used to. And it's literally difficult to be around them. And that's what I've been dealing with. And maybe you are too. We all kind of have this transformational something going on right now. It's okay though. Just move through it. Just lay down, take a breather. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been an awesome hour. Check out the show on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same time, 8 o'clock. Anti-Media here on UCY. Simone, you're a doll. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on again. It's always fun to be part of this.
Yes. Thank you for being my soul sister. Thank you. Thank you for being my support. Even from I love you. And we'll be together again. Simone likes to join us at least twice a month when our schedules match up, and she's got the energy and time. So thank you, and you have a beautiful week, okay?
You too. Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you on Monday.
Yo,